Nigeria, Nigerians, and Igbo people. Igbo people in Nigeria. Let's talk about Igbo people first. So this is not a history or the origins of Igbo. We're not talking about that of the Igbo people. What I'm talking about today is the topics that has been surrounding the Igbo people. The Igbo people have been trending in Nigeria for since the amalgamation, probably even before the amalgamation of 1914. But since the amalgamation of the Northern and the Southern Protectorate by Frederick Lugard, the then British governor of Nigeria, the British colonized Nigeria. So since that time, the Igbo have been trending. There's always one thing or the other about the Igbo people that is always coming to the forefront of discussions of anything that has to do with Nigeria, Africa at large. And the truth of the matter is that the Igbo people did not ask for any of that. The Igbo people are just the people that have been doing their thing. They have a strong culture, and they've always been proud of their culture. They've always never looked at themselves as people that cannot achieve. And I think that is part of the reason why there are some dissatisfaction or ill feelings from some other people towards them. Now, without going too much deep into the history of Nigeria and the Igbo people, just to make this a short presentation, the Igbo people are a victim of their own success for the most part. The Igbo people are a victim of their own success. The Igbo people, they do not compete with other tribes. They don't see themselves. If anything, it's some other people. I won't say everybody in other tribes, but if anything, it's some people from other tribes that see them as a threat. It's some people in other tribes that feel insecure about the Igbo people because they feel like the Igbo people are always there to take over. And if you ask them, take over in what way, they can't explain because they will be embarrassed to even admit. Take over, the Igbo people are not religious extremists. They are not people that believe that only their way of life should be followed. They are not going to different places to conquer territories or take lands and make it and set up like a kingdom. They don't do that. The only time they will buy a land or be allowed to lease a land is when they are trying to build a business, an organization, just for business purposes. And guess who the business impacts the most in a positive way? The host community or the host country or the host state or the host region. That is what the business will impact more. As long as your business is not about taking from the locals without giving back, as long as your business is not about making the locals feel like they are enslaved, as long as your business is a genuine business that services are exchanged for maybe profit, but you give service, you sell items that are valuable to the people of that environment. So in a business transaction, there's no charity. Actually, sometimes there's charity from the owners of the business. Maybe you find some business sponsoring groups or even building uh, some infrastructure that benefits the whole community. So most, if there's anyone that gains more in a legitimate business in your area, it is the host community, the locals there. They gain more because some of them get employed. People get the basic uh, items that they need to survive or to go or to do the activities. People get basic commodities. So, how is a businessman who is doing legitimate business, a honest business, a fair business, how is that person your problem? The people that I will think that should not be allowed in other people's communities or countries or even hometowns or states or regions are people that are operating under an ideology that they have to take over your place for other reasons, maybe for religious reasons or for some crazy ideology that has nothing to do with business. People that feel like you can only see life through their own lenses. People that believe that there's no other way of life, there's no other way to live except their own life. Because if this is not to just praise the Igbos, but we have to say the truth. The truth has to be said. This is not about praising the Igbos or anything. This is about speaking the truth that most people don't want to hear, or some people don't want to hear. So, an Igbo man can live anywhere. That is why there's a saying in Nigeria that if you go anywhere and you don't see an Igbo man, you should leave that place because maybe there's nothing good that will come out of that place. It doesn't mean that's true. That's just a saying. It can be true too. So, an Igbo man can survive and live anywhere. He can live with people that even if you're worshiping the grasses or the stones or whatever you're worshiping, you find that Igbo man in any part of the world that there is a human being. They are not. It doesn't mean they are all over the world, but what I'm trying to say, they can go anywhere and survive, and that is how they are known. And they do business. It's all about business for them. Most of them actually build their houses back home in the Igbo land of the south, the southeast or south area of Nigeria. There are some Igbos in the south region of Nigeria. There are some the Igbos are mostly found in the southeast area of Nigeria. Most of them will actually go back home to build before they even build where they are doing business. I mean, build houses. They are residential houses. So that is the mentality that they have. Business. And if not for the tribalism problem that we have in Africa, you would realize that that is how the world operates. That is how come you're not bothered, or how come you're not um, infuriated about the people from Europe, from Asia, from where everywhere else, from Arabs, from Arabia, from the Middle East, wherever, coming to do the same thing in Africa and in every other part of the world. They go, they establish business. How many, right now, how many, if you start thinking or if you start counting, you will count a lot of uh, international companies in your country or in your state. People from different part of the world having companies in your state, in your country, in your community, doing business. Some of you, your economy will go down the drain in less than 12 hours if maybe half of those international foreign owned companies leave your place. Your economy will crash. So you feel like the business opportunities or the international business opportunities only meant for Europeans, Americans, or Asians, or people from the Middle East? Is that what you think? That the only people that can do business and you won't feel threatened? So what is the problem if you see someone that look like you with your skin tone, or what, just that look like you? What is the problem if you see them doing the same thing, or not even up to, but doing similar? What's the pro? Why do you feel threatened? You see, that's why the issue that some communities have with some other communities, like the Igbo. I'm sure they are, they are similar tribes to Igbo in terms of business and entrepreneurship in other parts of Africa. But the problem people have with such communities is based on feeling, this story of the crab mentality, that like they put all the crab like in a ditch, or is it like in a bucket or something? And I don't know if you've heard of that story. And when one crab is crawling and trying to come out of that hole, you find some the other crabs will go and drag him down to be with them. I feel like that is some of the reason why tribes like the Igbos and every other and every other group of people that are known for entrepreneurship and business adventures in Africa, I feel like that is the challenge that they are facing. Because I feel like the people around them, the fellow, most times the fellow Africans around them, feel threatened, or uh, feel like they are being put down, just because the people that are doing these businesses and that are making these strong moves are people that look like them. So you feel like we should all be on the same level. But Africa cannot rise with such mentality. Africa cannot rise to its rightful place in the global stage with such mentality. With such mentality, we are only going backwards. Now, every tribe, whether your people are known for business prowess, entrepreneurship prowess, or whatever, every tribe or every ethnicity or every group in Africa have successful people, have people that are doing entrepreneurship. Every tribe has that. Every group of people have that. But there are some others that are widely known for that. So I think it's a matter of numbers and maybe culture, because now with culture it can spread around the whole people more. So, and when you see that a large number of people are good in something, instead of trying to bring them down, since you know they are among you, since you know that they don't mean harm, since you know that they are not trying to um, overshadow you, just to, overshadow you, they are not trying to bring you down. Why don't you even take advantage of their strengths? Because in life, everybody have something to offer. Now, it doesn't mean that the Igbos are known or are good in everything that is good. There are some other things that they are not. Maybe you will find it more with another group of people, but the Igbos also need that thing. So everybody have to learn to tap from each other's strengths instead of trying to bring the other person down that is good at what they do. There's also something that you are very good at doing that other person can tap from. And that is just the simple truth. And the issue that some other people from Nigeria have with the Igbos is just what I've said, like in a nutshell, feeling threatened. There's this clip of the former premier of the northern region in Nigeria, saying something to a British journalist. It was so much. Don't forget, I told you that. Don't forget, I said that the British, the Igbos have been trending for a long time. And when this British journalist came and was talking to the former premier, I think it's Sir Modu Bello of the northern region of Nigeria, you won't believe what the premier said. The British man asked. In fact, let me play. I will play the video right now. Just listen to this.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it, obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions, coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, I mean, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if there are, there may be 10 laborers employed only in the two regions.
So from that, you can tell what has been going on. The British man asked him, what is the obsession about the Igbos? This is long time ago. You could see that it's very long ago in the 60s, early 60s. Very long time ago. The British man asked him, what is the obsession with the Igbos? Because to them, the way most of the European countries, the way they do things is, any group of people that is succeeding in their, apart from what happened with the Nazi, the Hitler, and all those people that got so much jealous and tried to take out the Jews, got so much envious and did actually the most horrific crime to human beings in the history of the world, or in the history of the modern world. Apart from that, most of the European countries, they actually like people that can contribute positively to their society. And once they see that you're contributing positively to their society, no matter where you come from, whether you are from the fellow European countries or you're from outside Europe, once they know that your people contribute very much to the progress and prosperity of their place, of their countries, they even try to make the place comfortable for you to do more business. So do not fight people that are meant to be blessing, that are meant to be a blessing to you. Do not try to bring down those that are meant to be a blessing to you. Recently, in June, this 2025, the governor of North Carolina in the United States honored the Igbo people in his state. And let me just, in fact, let me read the statement that the governor um, put out. He says the title is Igbo Day 2025 by the governor of the state of North Carolina, a proclamation. Whereas there are thousands of Igbo people in North Carolina, some of whom have lived here for over 50 years, and whereas the Igbos are committed to preserving and promoting their rich cultural heritage from Nigeria, Igbos in North Carolina are encouraged to connect, celebrate, and support one another, fostering a strong sense of unity, bonding, and belonging. And whereas the Igbo community aspires to create an environment where their members thrive, traditions flourish, and their contributions to society are recognized and valued, through their collective efforts, the Igbo community aims to inspire future generations to embrace their identity and foster a strong sense of belonging and purpose within North Carolina. And whereas in 2022, the Igbo North Carolinians, the Igbo North Carolinians established the non-profit Igbo Day Festival organization to unite and educate Igbo families and North Carolinians about Igbo culture, art, music, and traditional values. The first Igbo Day Festival was held on July 10, 2022, and whereas their vision is to be a thriving community that not only honors and promotes the rich heritage of the Igbo people of Nigeria in North Carolina, but also serves as a beacon of unity, support, and cultural pride. And whereas Igbos in North Carolina are involved in many charitable causes and have contributed to the economy, they have participated in elections and excel in various careers, including those working for the state of North Carolina and the federal government. Thrive in fields such as education, entrepreneurship, law, medicine, including roles as doctors, nurses, pharmacists, information technology, and arts. And whereas they have volunteered in local schools, adopted a highway in North Carolina to aid cleaning efforts, supported women's shelter and hospitals, organized food pantry drives, and participated in cultural performances at local festivals. And whereas Igbos in North Carolina are dedicated to ensuring the sustainability of Igbo culture by creating cultural awareness for future generations. Now, therefore, I, Josh Stein, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim June 14, 2025 as Igbo Day in North Carolina and commend its observance to all citizens. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and affixed the great seat of the state of North Carolina as the capital in Raleigh, this 21st day of May in the year of our Lord 2025, and to the independence of the United States of America, the 249th. This is a statement released officially by the office and by the governor himself of North Carolina in the US. They've seen, and they are still seeing the importance of Igbo people as a whole. Doesn't mean that you won't find anybody that will do something wrong or commit a crime. You can, even in Vatican, you will find somebody that commits a crime. Even in the wherever, you will still find. But do they understand the general good, the general purpose of a group of people, and they honor the people? That is how to operate, with clear objectives and without hate and without anger, without envy. You're supposed to capitalize, you're supposed to take advantage of the strength of your neighbors or your guests, especially when they're offering it to you instead of trying to bring them down. But what do we have in Africa? It's almost the opposite. You feel threatened for people that are doing business, adding value to your economy, growing your economy, creating jobs, opening up your markets where more people can join in the supply chain. You feel like, no, no, I should be the one. Our people should be the one selling that. Who told you that your people cannot sell and buy at the same time with those people? It only makes your economy bigger. It only gives more people jobs, more businesses, more jobs. Is that a very difficult maths? More businesses, more entrepreneurship, more jobs. Even if you open a shop and employ 2, 3 people, it is more jobs. So if you have 20 shops in maybe an area, and those people employ, let's say, 2 people each, that is how many jobs in that small area? That's 40 jobs. Even if they employ 1 person each from that community, from the local community, how many jobs is that? Is that not 20 jobs? So back to what the premier was saying. He's saying that the Igbos are people that want to dominate. They want to dominate. It's just so funny. Want to dominate, and at the same time, he contradicted his speech from want to and saying that they'll try to emerge as the head of the laborers. You try to emerge as the head. So at least you say they try. It's not like they are being given that position. Are you not supposed to grow in every business? Are you not, or organization that you're working for? Are you not supposed to move to the next level by your hard work, commitment, dedication, and all that? So the Igbos are just, in a nutshell, they are just a victim of their own success. They are victim of their own success. And one of the reasons why it seems like that for them, why it seems that you always find them succeeding in almost you know, every aspect of life, is because they hardly compete. Why people feel like they are doing, like they're everywhere or doing too much, is they don't compete with other people, with other tribe. They compete among themselves. An Igbo man sees a fellow Igbo man that goes somewhere, and maybe he heard that this man now, he has opened a business, is doing well. Some people usually say it's another Igbo man that calls his brother and say, come. Sometimes, yes, but most of the time, it is the brother who sees him and say, hey, how is business there? I see things like this and like. The man say, oh yeah, well, we're doing this, and before you know, the brother has gone to join him. You yourself know that for a human being to just call another person to come and make money like him, uh, in the human nature, that is not usually the case. So is the people that always look for and go for what they want. And that is why you see them, they don't care about, if they don't care about any other whether people, they just go exactly because sometimes they feel like they have to also show their brother that they are capable, or show their people. And that is why this titlement, these chieftaincy titles and all this, they value it so much. Is they like showing to their self, they like showing to themselves. That's why they take, some of them take pride in in these chieftaincy titles. You call me the Omenora one, the Odogu one, all these titles, they like it. Not all of them though, but some of them do, because it's a competition among themselves, and they want to be recognized among their people. And with that kind of mentality, you find them at large numbers in the space of success. At large numbers in the space of success that will make other people feel like, oh, are they coming for us? No, they're not coming for us. They are not coming for you. They're actually trying to be where their peers are, their brothers, their sisters. So that's just the truth about the Igbos. They have a very strong work ethic. That's just the truth. They have a strong work ethic. They have the entrepreneurship skills. There's so many companies that people know, even if I start listing them, time will not permit, that are owned by the Igbo people. And these things are adding value. How much value has Airpeace, for example, the largest private um, airline in West Africa, how much value has it added to Nigeria and West Africa at large? Is the man giving a free airspace or space at the airports all across Africa or West Africa? Is he not paying? Is he not employing people? How much value has he added to those people? Has that business added to those people? You talk about someone like Tony Elumelu of UBA, Transcorp Hilton. So the problem is just simple: envy, jealousy, that has translated to hate from some people. And they have another thing about the Igbo, they have this strong community like network and support. Like they always go to an area, and I'll come back to this because I feel like this is part of the reason why there's this issue, this story of the Igbo king in Ghana. The Igbo king in Ghana. I'll come back to that in a moment. But another thing that the Igbo people have, which people know, especially Nigerians who live close to them and know them, can tell you about their adaptability and their resilience. They adapt to any situation. If you know what happened to the Igbos during the Nigerian Civil War, you'll understand why you confirm that the Igbos can adapt, and the Igbos have a very strong resilience. Because these people, whether you are a millionaire, you are very wealthy, they were all stripped of everything they have financially, even with their properties, and were given £20. £20 has more value then than now, but it was still very, 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 very little. They were given £20 to um to start all over. And a few decades later, they are almost back to where they were in terms of prospering, business, prowess, um, success. If you even Google right now the wealthiest or is it richest tribe in Africa or wealthiest tribe in Africa, you will see an Igbo name as number one. You will see Igbo. I'm not talking about like an individual because most Igbo men, or if not, or don't like uh, counting their money. They don't like bringing their money out for. Maybe that's why you won't find so many of them on the Forbes list. But most of them, you won't see them trying to put their money out there to be examined or counted or analyzed. Maybe their business can be, but their own, like, for some reason, that's just how I've noticed. So these are people with us with such resilience that went through the horrors of civil war. A community or a tribe or a region went, had conflict or war with the whole Nigeria, Nigerian military, Nigerian armed forces, and they are still standing and still very successful and still envied and still jealous by not all Nigerians or all people, by some people from different tribes in Nigeria and now extended even outside Nigeria. So that should show you how resilient this, how much they have, that adaptability and how much they can be resilient. You know. So then they also have this apprenticeship system, which people know. Like people say the Igbos have more. You can go to some more, other places, you find millionaires, billionaires. They are everywhere, but Igbos have them more in terms of, I think, numbers. A lot of people will support that thought because of, it's easier for a person with nothing to rise with the system that the Igbos have, because there's this thing they have, the apprenticeship system, which is actually from the Bible days during the time of, is it Jacob, Isaac, you know, when Jacob served, is it Naaman or for 7 years and was rewarded. It has been there, the apprenticeship system, and it's the same apprenticeship system that the Igbos are still using till date. Some people serve 5 years. I think mostly it's 7 years. Then after that, the person would, you can serve your someone in your family, your extended family, or someone that is not even your family member, maybe from the same village or community or state, or even someone that is not just even from your community, but maybe the same tribe, Igbo. And after some time, you're rewarded uh, with some money to go and start your own business. Not to the level that your boss or the person you served is, but maybe a smaller version of that. Yeah, it can even be a much smaller version of that. But with hard work, with determination, with resilience, with that entrepreneurship spirit, you find most of those Igbo people will even rise to the level or even more than the people they served. In a few years, they can either rise to the same level or even more. So, and that has helped many of them to come out of poverty. And that is why people see all of them, or most of them, or many of them, as having money or rich people. Can we even start talking about how important, or the important roles that Igbo people has played in Nigeria and Africa at large? That will take another. Just do your own research, maybe. Do your own research. Go to Google, type notable Igbo people in Africa or Nigeria or whatever. You will see the names. There are so many, whether in every area, whether it's in science and technology, whether it's in arts, whether it's in sports, like whatever, you will see There's this news I saw the other day. The youngest lawyer, I think, in Nigeria or is in Africa. I'm not sure. The girl of 15 years, and she's, I think, a lawyer. I don't know if she's already confirmed a lawyer or maybe she's in law school. But that is a teenager or 15-year-old, a 15-year-old teenager. And it doesn't mean others are not excelling in their areas. But don't forget that what I'm talking about right now is the Igbo people more. It's a general thing for people to succeed, especially Nigerians. We've seen how much Nigerians are succeeding. In fact, for you to understand it, Nigeria is like the Igbo of Africa. Nigeria is like the Igbo of Africa, while the Igbo is of Nigeria and Africa. So in every part of society, Igbo people have contributed largely. You've seen whether it's in sports, they recently concluded African Women Cup of Nations that was held in Morocco. You could see Igbo people in the team, someone like Esther Okoronkwo and the lady who has been trending for all over social media for her outstanding performance in the tournament. Every other person performed very well there. Even the person who scored the winning goal, Echejini, I think Jennifer. There's so many, so you can't even count. And in sports, and maybe some other areas, in science and arts, and in some other areas, you can find the the you can find that okay, Nigeria is probably capitalizing on the strength of everyone, especially even the Igbos. But what about in businesses, community? Why envy them? Why see them as threats? Why see them as threats when you know they are not some religious extremists or people that cannot live among any other person? Me, I feel the people that cannot tolerate any other person around them are the people that should be seen as threats. The people that feel like their own lifestyle is the only lifestyle that people should adapt to, then I feel like those are the threats. People that don't respect the lifestyle of other people. Because even if you are trying to save souls, or even if you feel like you want to save souls, everything must be a choice, willingly. Even God that created the whole world gave everyone a choice. God could have made everybody like a robot that does whatever they are programmed to do. But he gave everybody choice to choose. He even gave people a choice to choose if you will serve him or not. So, and Igbo people are very liberal, and that's their belief. And now you say they are mostly Christians. There are some others that practice Judaism. Other people follow their the African traditional spiritual systems. But mostly you say they're Christians. Then others are, Judaism and all that. So, what is the crime of the Igbo? Their success, their entrepreneurship, their determination, their resilience, their adaptability. That is just who they are. And everything they do contributes positively to wherever they are. That's why you hear some people talking about developing their host communities, and some other people, because of their anger or because they're already filled with hate and not understanding these things, they say, "Oh, go and develop your own place." Their own place are also developed. Have you seen the houses in their regions? Have you seen the infrastructure there? Despite the war and devastation that they went through in the 60s, and also there's been like loop-sided federal government development in there that is against them, and yet they've been able to do a lot of things themselves. So if you look at that, the Igbo king, like I said, let me just quickly touch on that. The Igbo king, they are kings of African tribes, communities, representing their people in the diaspora in many parts of the world. I think they even came out that there's a Yoruba king in Ghana too, a king for Yoruba people or some group of Yorubas. So there's a king, but I think the issue or what made some Ghanaians feel uh, uncomfortable is maybe the glamour. The glamour. I've seen a video of the Igbo king sitting on a throne that is like, I don't know if it's real gold or if it's just gold colored throne, kind of. And the glamour, meet him meeting dignitaries, him doing all that, and also maybe the issues of him building infrastructures, properties. And there was that news of him, that news which we are finding out that it's most likely false news of him buying, I don't know, is it 50 acres. So I think with all of that, it kind of made some Ghanaians uncomfortable. But the truth of the matter is that the Igbo people or any other group, they have representatives in every part. If you go in the West, they don't care about these things, to be honest, because they know for a fact you're not taking over anything. You're okay. You're like ruling, or you're the head of your people in any group. Yes, people have that. But I feel like maybe the glamour, and also don't forget that there's already that um there's already that thing we talked about earlier, that jealousy, that envy for other people doing some excelling in business in your own community, and you feel like, yeah, you can make the argument that, oh no, we will do it. But the truth of the matter, but don't lie that those people are doing evil when you know quite well that it's good they are doing. It's just that you don't want them to be the one doing that good. It's just as simple as that. Don't lie on the host. Don't lie on the guests. Don't lie on the foreigners. Don't lie that, oh, they are evil. They've done this. They are doing all the evil, and you know quite well that most of the crimes, in fact, 99.9 or 99% of the crime is done by the locals. And you lie just because you're trying to push a narrative that the foreigners are the ones doing it. It doesn't mean that every foreigner uh, is totally free of committing crime in a different country. No, there are some. But when foreigners, because they are human beings like you, when they do crime, do not pin it on their whole uh, community. Do not pin it on their whole country. That person that have done crime, treat that same person the way you treat your own people that have done crime. Follow the law. Whatever the law says, you the law of the land, because that person is supposed to obey the law of the land. Whatever the law of the land says, follow the law of the land and do unto that person what the law says. Why lie? Just because you hate a group of people, you pin every evil, including the one that you are doing, you pin it on them. That is evil. That is wickedness. That is satanic. You pin everything that they do, everything that every other local person do that is bad, you pin it on the foreigners just because you don't like them. You can make your point. You can even talk about how you want this and that. I don't believe that every discussion about foreigners and all that it shouldn't be had. Sometimes some discussions are meant to be to be had. There are some discussions that people need to talk about. Yes, if you feel like some foreigners are not behaving in a way that suits you, as long as it's constructive and it's not coming from a place of hate, it's not coming from a place of anger, it's not coming from a place of just jealousy and envy, then those discussions should be had. People should have those discussions, but do not lie on people just because of hate. It's evil. And you find some of these people still are still praying to God for help. And sometimes you wonder, as a human being, you are seriously pushing evil against somebody, and in your home you're going and asking God for help, or expecting another human being to do good to you. Don't you understand that what goes around comes around? Don't you understand that whatever you sow, you are going to reap? So it's just quite unfortunate. But for the Igbo king in Ghana, I feel like mostly it's because of that, uh, maybe the glamour that surrounds him. And he has made it clear in several, like I'm going to play. Just listen to some of these things he said.
I'm not a king.
Okay.
I am Igbo Ghana, the chief of Igbo community in Ghana, the leader of Igbo community in our culture and tradition. The fake information that the bloggers put on the internet that has generated too much heat, that they linked up to my name, that I want to build a kingdom in Ghana, which is not true.
Okay.
This has also made the people out there thinking that Ghanaians are against Nigerians because of the fake information that the bloggers are putting in, as if there is an attack on Nigerians, as if there is an attack in my home, as if there is that Nigerians in Ghana are in panic. So it's a fake information, and they attach my name to it, that I made a statement that I want to build a kingdom in Ghana, which is not true. So I now said, sincere apologies to the president of Ghana and the people of Ghana for this fake information that my name is attached to it. Because the word calls I'm receiving from all over the world as if I'm not alive. As people are calling, there's panic. People will be saying, are you sure you guys are safe in Ghana? It doesn't sound good. But the bloggers that has generated this fake information and put videos together, see people are protesting in Ghana, is so bad. As long as they mention my name there, which is not true. So I said, apologies for such fake information that people have tagged my name to it.
From your palace, as you call it, or it's from the bloggers?
It's from the bloggers.
So you have never called yourself king before? King of the Igbo people in Ghana?
No, that is a question that had a lot of answers. You see, when you say the name king, that is our local language. In our local language, when you say Eze, Eze, we have Eze as a name. People can call their children Eze. My first son is called Eze, Chidemeze. But there is also Eze in our language that had to do with kingship.
Right.
Just like people answer Nana as a normal name, answer Ni as a normal name, but these names are also a tag for kings. But then in Ghana here, with my understanding now in Ghana here, that the Constitution of Ghana did not have that provision of a king. We had provision for chiefs. In Nigeria, when people called Eze or Igwe, or that's Eze as a ruler or Igwe as a ruler, that means he's a king. So this is what we portray.
So he made it clear that it's not about him doing, it's just people putting false information, and some of these things are political. Some of these things are political. Some of these things is just to push a narrative. And the worst thing is that some of these politicians, when they want to try and get to power, they divide Africans, they divide their people, in along tribal lines, religious lines, and even xenophobic lines. Just because they're trying to scale to a certain height politically. And a lot of the people that are not educated about these things fall for it. Some of the people fall for it, some others do not, but many fall for it. They start feeling like, oh, yes, it's true. And because of that already inbuilt kind of jealousy, it's easy to use tribalism and all that against the people. So, some of these things are false news. The Igbo king in Ghana is not a king of any Ghanaian. He's not a king of any Ghanaian. He's a king for Igbo people, Igbo community in Ghana. There are communities of everybody in every place. Now, the discussion, the whether the glamour and all that, that can be talked about, that can be discussed. Me personally, I don't support that. In terms of, I feel like, yes, you can be a king, you can be a representative, but just because you understand the mentality of some of these, some of our fellow Africans, so because you understand this thing of feeling that no, you shouldn't be too glamorous in our own space. I think when you understand some of these things, maybe there's a way you now try to adapt so that it doesn't bring too much negative attention on you or your people. But the fact that is it wrong to have an Igbo king or any king representing any group of people in another place? There's no problem if that person is only representing his people and the people agree for him to represent them. There's no problem with that. The thing of, if that issue of buying 40 acres or whatever, all those lands to set up a kingdom, well, if that was true, I would also not support that. But he has come out to say that that is false. Or that there was a time he wanted to build, is it like a school or buy a few, build like a school and something like that, and he changed his mind. But the story about the 50 acres and all that is not true. And there's no reason until you have proof. You cannot say that's a lie. And there's a lot of people that want to capitalize all these false and xenophobic kind of news. People want to capitalize off that, and they're coming online and they're posting all manner of things. They don't care how much it sets Africa back. They don't care how much it affects us as a whole. It's just all about pushing their own narrative. And I believe that people that have genuine, constructive, discussions or concerns, those people can have those kind of conversations. We can all have this conversation and know how well to live among ourselves. And if anybody who is a foreigner goes to another country and is committing crime, I'm telling you, the first people that should try and stop that person should be even his people in that country. Yes, because there's no reason why you already know how the situation is and you're going to another country to commit crime. So, but I believe when you catch that criminal or that person, you should treat that person as that person. If there are many, if there are 2, 3, 4, catch them, treat them as this person, but trying to pin it on a whole group of people, on a whole country, on a whole tribe, that is just wicked illiteracy. That is evil because it doesn't make sense. There are a lot of people from your own community that have done a lot of evil, whether locally or internationally. Imagine if the same thing was used to judge you. It's wrong. The same thing that these Igbos are going through is what some people are also, what some Nigerians in general are going through in every other part of the world, Africa. Nigerians, most of them, it doesn't mean other people are not go-getters or are not succeeding or don't have the desire, the passion to succeed. You find people in every country in Africa that have that. You will find, but from what we know so far, or in this discussion, Nigerians kind of are highlighted for that, And it's not because they are trying to dominate anybody, but it's just Nigerians in general, not just Igbo people now. It's not just because they are trying to dominate anybody, it's because that they have the passion, the desire to succeed. And when people have the desire, passion to succeed, if they're in your country, if they're in your country and they are not committing crimes, they just have business. If it's about business, please do not hate, because you're not hating on the multinationals from every other part of the world in your country. Why are you hating on Nigerians just because of their Africans like you? They're doing business, helping also boosting your economy. Yes, you give them, they're giving you too with their human resource. That is a strong human resource, part of the resources, or you don't know. If it's about business, but if it's about maybe if anybody, whether it's one Nigerian or two Nigerian, whoever, can we talk about all the crimes that the people from Europe and Asia and all that have committed in Africa and are still committing? Did you stop their people from coming to invest or doing other things in your country because of their past, or what some of their people are still doing that are bad? So why are you using a different judgment measure for Nigeria, for Nigerians, or any other African countries that are, people that are excelling in your place? Why are you using a different yardstick for them? It's evil. Why are you using a different yardstick for people that look like you more? I don't even believe in this thing of separating people along racial lines, or I believe we're all human beings. I believe the most important in the world, or the world is just divided into good and evil. I don't believe in that everything is about race and tribe. No, there are some things that are about race and tribe, yeah, but not everything. But if you can't do that, if you see people that don't just hate, don't just for the sake of hate, that, oh, they're doing this, I just hate them. No, that's foolishness. That's illiteracy of the truth. Don't just hate. This is now for just everybody, Africans in general, Nigerians in general. Don't just hate people. Don't tag every Nigerian you see in your country as criminals just because maybe you saw one person that did something bad, or just because you hate the fact that many of them are doing well in businesses or in other positive areas in your society or in your country. No, you can have a discussion that, you can have a discussion of, we want our country to be this and that. Is not about hate. But if it's about envy and jealousy, and you're translating that into hate and translating that into accusing Nigerians or any other group of people for all the crime done in your country, that is evil. That's wickedness. Don't do that. That is evil. There's no difference between you and those people that go and take other people's land forcefully because of religious belief or whatsoever, or racism. There's no difference between you and those people committing evil all around the world. If you have that kind of mindset. So guys, I'll leave you with some of these clips about some of the some Igbo people culture and all that. And thank you for listening. Thank you for staying to the end of this. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Like this video if you haven't subscribed, if you care, and I will see you next time.